Raining cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs is an idiom that refers to raining very heavily. This expression originated in England. One possible explanation for the origin of this idiom is how, throughout history, during periods of heavy rainfall, people would yell out "it is raining, get the cats and dogs inside." As time passed, this phrase was shortened to "it is raining cats and dogs." Another theory is that the pairing of the words cats and dogs comes from a Greek expression which means contrary to experience or belief, relating to how raining cats and dogs means that it is raining unbelievably hard. There could be no logical explanation for its origin, and is simply used for its humor. Break a leg. Break a leg is an expression used in performing arts to wish a performer good luck, specifically before a performance or audition. It likely originated from a German phrase which translated to neck and leg break, with this German phrase being a pun on a Yiddish phrase for success and blessing, since their pronunciations are similar. This phrase was then introduced to theater with German-speaking Jewish immigrants entering the American entertainment industry. Another theory to this idiom's origin is that back then, theater was the second most superstitious institution in England, with horse racing being the first. In horse racing, it was considered unlucky to wish someone good luck, so it was asserted to instead say something insulting like "may you break your leg." This likely transferred over to using the phrase in theater. Hold your horses. Hold your horses is an idiom meaning wait or slow down. Historically, it is related to horse riding or traveling by horse. This phrase is typically used when someone is rushing into something, followed by an explanation as to why that someone should wait, such as "hold your horses, you still need to clock out before you leave." There are several possible explanations for the origins of this idiom. At one point in the Greek epic poem The Iliad, Homer wrote "hold your horses" when Antilochus was driving recklessly in a chariot race. The idiom may have also originated from army artillery units, when it was used to tell soldiers to wait until further orders. Its first known usage as an idiom was in the 19th century when it was written as "hold your hosses," with hoss being slang for horse. Jumping the shark. Jumping the shark refers to how a creative work runs out of ideas and introduces a new idea or concept which contradicts or exaggerates its original purpose. The phrase was coined by radio personality John Hine in response to the episode of the show Happy Days where the character Fonzie jumped over a live shark while on water skis. This moment was seen as a point of decline for the series. Jumping the shark has also been used to describe situations such as states of advertising, the pursuit of a company acquisition, and republics declining into degraded democracy and empire. Some related idioms are nuking the fridge, which refers to how a movie franchise can be exhausted with disappointing sequels, and growing the beard, which refers to a show getting better in quality, the opposite of jumping the shark. Feeling under the weather. Feeling under the weather means feeling sick. It is believed to be nautical, from how when sailors would feel sick, they would go beneath the bow, which is the front part of the ship. This would hopefully protect them from bad weather, which could make them even more sick. Therefore, these sailors would literally be under the weather. Spilled the beans. Spilled the beans refers to revealing a secret. The most likely origin for this idiom is that it is derived from an ancient Greek voting process. The process was that people would vote by placing one of two colored beans in a vase, with one color meaning yes and the other meaning no. If someone were to literally spill this vase full of beans, the secret results of the election would be revealed prematurely. Beat around the bush. Beat around the bush means to avoid a certain point when talking, likely to avoid bringing up something difficult. It is thought to have originated in response to game hunting in Britain. Participants in these hunts would beat bushes to draw out birds. Therefore, they were literally beating around the bush before getting to the main point, which was actually catching the birds. Barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree refers to looking in the wrong place. It alludes to how hunting dogs can sometimes misidentify trees that prey would be hiding in, and these dogs would continue to bark at these wrong trees, letting the cat out of the bag. Letting the cat out of the bag means to reveal a secret, intentionally or accidentally. It has been suggested that this idiom comes from an old scam where a customer would buy what they believed to be a piglet in a bag, when it would actually be a cat in the bag, which was less valuable. It wouldn't be until the customer opened the bag to find out about the deception, thereby letting the cat out of the bag. Break the ice. Break the ice means to make someone feel comfortable to gain friendship. It also means to resolve a conflict between friends. This idiom's origins date back to when roads were not fully developed. During this time, ships were the main means of transportation and trade. When it was winter, some of these ships would get stuck on ice that formed on bodies of water. The receiving countries would then send smaller ships with people who would help the stuck ships pass by breaking the ice they were stuck in. This has come to be seen as an invitation of friendship between the giving and receiving countries. Straw that broke the camel's back. Straw that broke the camel's back refers to a minor or normal action that causes an unexpectedly large and sudden reaction due to how previous small actions have added up. It brings about the phrase the last straw or the final straw, meaning that the last bad thing to happen in a series of negative occurrences causes an apparent sudden and strong reaction. The earliest known version of this idiom comes in a theological debate from the 1600s about causality, in which a judgment can result from the last part of an action, and the example used was that the last feather might break a horse's back. This had many versions and variants throughout history, with the straw and the camel becoming a well-known one. Red herring. Red herring refers to a clue that is intended to deceive or distract someone. The origins for this idiom dates back to the 17th century. For hunting, hunters would train dogs to follow the correct scent. The way they trained them was by placing pungent smoked fish in trees to distract the dogs, so they would become used to ignoring wrong scents. Bite the bullet. Bite the bullet is both an idiom and metaphor that means to accept something unpleasant or difficult. This comes from times when doctors didn't have anesthesia. They would instead distract patients from pain by having them bite down hard on bullets. Skeleton in the closet. Skeleton in the closet refers to a secret that someone is embarrassed about. Back before the United Kingdom passed its 1832 Anatomy Act, grave robbers would supply skeletons for medical schools. Whenever there were raids of these schools, teachers hid the skeletons in closets so they would not be taken away. Elephant in the room. Elephant in the room is a metaphorical idiom that refers to an obvious topic, question, or issue that no one wants to talk about. In the year 1814, poet Ivan Krylov wrote a fable in which a man enters a museum and notices many tiny things, but fails to notice an elephant. This led to the phrase elephant in the room becoming common. Bury the hatchet. Bury the hatchet means to forget an offense and make peace. This alludes to a tradition long ago when Puritans were fighting with Native Americans. The Native Americans would bury their weapons, such as hatchets, clubs, and tomahawks, during peace negotiations. The act of making weapons inaccessible like this was their sign for peace. Straight from the horse's mouth. Straight from the horse's mouth means to get information directly from a reliable source, like someone who has personal knowledge of the subject. This comes from when people bought horses during the 1900s. To determine the age of a horse, a buyer would examine its teeth, which would confirm or dispute the age that the seller claimed. Give someone the cold shoulder. Give someone the cold shoulder means to treat someone in an unfriendly manner. The origin for this idiom dates back to medieval times. When someone had a guest over, it was considered impolite to directly ask that guest to leave. Instead, there was a custom in which the host would serve a cold piece of meat from the shoulder of pork, beef, or mutton. It signaled that the dinner was over and it was time for the guest to get ready to leave. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding is an idiom with different meanings. One is that the existence of evidence backs up a claim. A second is that a process isn't important as long as there are good results. A third is that the success of something only depends on it being put to its intended use. This idiom is actually an Americanized version of the British idiom the proof of the pudding is in the eating. This difference led to the varied use of the idiom in different situations. The British version is closest to the third definition previously explained. In the 16th century, the word proof was synonymous to test. Pudding was different back then, and the true test of a successful pudding dish was measured solely by how it tasted, relating to how the intended use of something truly shows whether or not it's successful. Willy-nilly. Willy-nilly is an idiom and slang that describes an action or activity that is done in a chaotic or unplanned manner, like an artist creating a sculpture without a pre-planned process. This term comes from the Shakespearean expression will-ye-nilly, which is the shortened version of the phrase whether one wants to or not. While this was the notable origin for willy-nilly, the earliest ancestor is an Old English phrase which translates to whether we wish to or wish not to, which was discovered to be from 888 AD. Thanks for watching.